All right, so we are doing a demonstration of the Enzyme Lab, both day 1 and 2. Materials you might need is hydrogen peroxide, real chicken liver, a bunch of different test tubes labeled, and then apples, potatoes, and chicken meat. All right, so the first step is to take a test tube. Here, you hold that. And then you're going to take a piece of chicken liver. See? Drop it in. All right.
If it doesn't slide down, you can always use your glass stir rod to push it to the bottom.
There we
like
go.
so.
Perfect. Then you're going to take 2 mils of hydrogen peroxide. You're going to put it into your test tube, and then you're going to watch. And feel what's going on. And so take a moment and pause and record your data. And I just want you to know it's starting to feel warmer. All right, so now we're going to take the used liquid and we're going to pour it into a new test tube. Okay, so we have this new used liquid, and we are going to put a brand new piece of liver and see what happens. Watch very carefully. I want you to take a moment, pause the video, and record your data. All right, so the final part of part A in the lab is to take your used liver and add new hydrogen peroxide and see what happens. So we're going to add 2 mils of hydrogen peroxide and record what happens. Again, if you were to feel this, it feels warm. The test tube is warming up. So pause the video and take a moment and record your data. All right, so now we are in part B, and so we are testing different tissues to see if there is catalase in those tissues, or if what's the concentration of catalase in the tissue. So we have potato, we have apples, and we have chicken meat, like from the breast. So we're going to pour hydrogen peroxide in the potato, and we are going to see what happens. Go ahead and record, pause, and record your data. All right, so now we are going to pour hydrogen peroxide into the apples. And you can see what's happening in the test tube. Record your data. All right, now we are taking the chicken meat and pouring hydrogen peroxide in the chicken meat. All right. All right, so we are now in part C of the Enzyme Lab. So we have 3 test tubes labeled hot, warm, and cold. And we are going to put liver into all 3 test tubes. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. And then what we're going to do is we are going to take hydrogen peroxide. We are going to put it separately into other test tubes, and they're going to sit in ice cold water, warm water, and boiling hot water. And we will bring you your results in a moment. All right, so we have just taken a liver piece and put it in hot water bath for 5 minutes. And now we are going to put hydrogen peroxide into the liver, and I want you to record your data. Doesn't feel any temperature difference. All right, so now we are taking the liver that has been sitting in a nice warm water bath, and we've had hydrogen peroxide at the same time sitting in the warm water bath. We're going to pour hydrogen peroxide into that, and I want you to record your data. And it's getting warm. The test tube feels warm again. Okay, pause. All right, So now we have the liver that's been sitting in ice cold water and hydrogen peroxide sitting in ice cold water together for about 3 minutes, and now we're going to see what it looks like with ice cold water. What's happening? Still feels cold because of the cold water bath. Please pause and record your data. Okay, so now we are in part D, and we've taken 3 test tubes and put hydrogen peroxide at the bottom of all 3 test tubes, and now we're going to put a different pH solutions. So the first pH solution we are going to put in will be pH 4, and we're going to add 10 drops. Okay?
Exactly 10.
Exactly 10. And we're going to swish a little bit. And then I want you to record after I add the liver piece what happens with pH of 4 solution with hydrogen peroxide mixed. Please pause and record your data. All right, so now we again have a test tube full of hydrogen peroxide. We're going to add pH of 7. We're adding 10 drops. And then we are going to see what it looks like when liver is added to an environment with hydrogen peroxide and pH of 7.
Remember, pH 7 is essentially distilled water.
So pause for a moment and record your data. All right, so now we have a test tube with hydrogen peroxide again, and we're going to add 10 drops of pH of 10.
Basic solution.
So basic, yep. And then we are going to see what it looks like with liver in an environment with a pH of 10.
Stir red.
I need my stir rod, please. Okay, and here we go. All right, please go ahead and record your data. All right, so that is part A, B, C, and D of your Enzyme Lab. What you need to do is look through your data, look through what you saw, compare and contrast the different situation environments we did. We looked at the enzyme being used once, and then we looked at using the liquid over again with the new enzyme, the new piece of liver, and then we looked at reusing the same piece of liver with new hydrogen peroxide in part A. In part B, then we compared different tissues. So look to see which tissue, chicken meats, apples, potatoes, and the liver, which one was the best or optimum catalyst concentration. Then in part C, you need to look and compare which temperature was the best optimum temperature for catalase to work efficiently. And finally in part D, you need to look at pH and what's the optimum best pH for the catalase to work in. If you have any questions, please come see us and we can help you with the lab.
Do the best you can to answer the questions from that data, and then come see one of us.
Right.